Hello again. I'd like to ask you a riddle. What is black and white and red all over? Give up? Some say it's a newspaper. How could it be a newspaper? A newspaper is black ink on theoretically white paper, and we read it all over it on each side. It could also be a blushing or bloody zebra, because a zebra is black and white. And if it's also red all over, which sounds illogical, then something is covering the black and white with red. So either blushing or blood. That riddle demonstrates the illogic that human beings are fascinated by. Sometimes we have to use tricks to get people to pay attention. Riddles make people pay attention, and they challenge our intelligence. We like to prove that we are intelligent. That's a human trait. I'd like to work out of the Tao Te Ching with you for a few minutes. Not all readings will need this, but the Tao Te Ching is frustrating to students because it seems highly illogical. Some of the stanzas don't seem illogical. For instance, on page 206, the first stanza of number 3, I read, "If you overesteem great men, people become powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal." That one isn't so hard, isn't it? I always say, to understand philosophy, and I don't mean you have to follow it or espouse it, become a follower. No, I just mean to see where the philosophy is coming from. Then you have to look at it and say, can I find examples that make this true? So if you esteem, as we defined, I tried to make a tape a moment ago and I had to erase, so I'm not sure if I already said this, but esteem means to admire or to hold in very high regard, to hold in great respect. If you overesteem, that would mean you do it too much. So if we hold someone in too high of respect, that means that person has too much admiration, too much power, and perhaps too much of the things that we give people whom we admire. Aside from attention and love, that might also be money. Or, as I said, power. And if we overesteem them, the people become powerless. Well, yes, if I give all my money to someone whom I admire, then he'll have all the money or she'll have all the money and I won't have any. If I give all the power to someone whom I admire, like an actress or an athlete, then that person will be able to buy property that I can no longer afford to buy. I'm telling you things that have been said in class, and the unfortunate part of online is that we can't have the back and forth debate, but you will be able to do it amongst yourselves when you come to the questions. What I'm concerned about right now is making sure that you don't feel frustrated by Lao Tzu. The next part, if you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. Well, sure, if we all thought diamonds were just stupid-looking rocks, nobody would want to steal one. And if a painting wasn't known to be by a famous painter and able to be sold for a very high price, likely thing is that it wouldn't be stolen from museums. So those parts are a little bit easy, but it gets a little bit more confusing as we go along. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, by weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. He helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in those who think that they know. And the last line is the most confusing of all. It says, practice not doing and everything will fall into place. Isn't that exactly what our teachers and parents have told us not to do? They tell us, get up off your chair and go do something. Don't not do. But we have to figure out a way in which this will work. So a way that this might work would be a situation with a teacher or a trainer or a master, a leader. To empty people's minds means don't think you know the answer. Listen to me. So that means the person, to accept someone else's explanation or idea, has to throw away his or her own ideas, at least for the moment. And that is a kind of resolve. To even be willing to do that makes one a receiver. One is willing to gain something. A place that could be said to happen would be, for instance, in the military. In the military, soldiers are trained not to take lead, but to listen to what the trainers tell them. Or the same thing in martial arts. As a matter of fact, Tao Te Ching works perfectly with the martial arts. The master helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire. Well, is there anyone harder to lead than someone who thinks he knows everything? Can you help someone who thinks he has all the answers? That person doesn't even listen. Once that person loses what he thinks he knows or believes he knows, there is a state of confusion. Obviously, those who think they know and are proved wrong are going to be confused. So it talks about how we learn, how we're directed, how we're trained. A lot of things, if you go back into history and look at television, film, technology like the internet, in the very beginning of many different industries, people said, oh, those aren't going to last. TV isn't going to last. Movies aren't going to last. And indeed, they did last. Practice not doing and everything will fall into place. Since I can't talk to you, I can't hear what you're thinking at this particular second, I'll just say, sometimes when I try too hard to control, I find that all my efforts go to naught. So if I don't try to control and have some faith, things might work out. That to me is a plausible explanation. And when you come upon things in the Tao Te Ching that you don't understand, try to figure out a way that it could possibly work. Thank you.